Just over time, doing these treatments, these new treatments actually with y'all, I'm 4 treatments out of 12. So far, I've gained so much more sensation. I'm able to move my arms. I'm able to sit up on my own. I've gained feeling on my back, on my bottom, on my arms, my fingers, my legs. Recently, my toes now and the bottom of my feet. I'm just so lucky that I get to share my word. And I wanted to start off with sharing my story. I'm 23 years old. I've grown up in Texas my whole life. I played sports my whole life. I played football all the way up to college. I played my freshman year of college too. And yeah, I went to Texas Tech. I transferred to Texas Tech my sophomore year after playing football at a small university called Southwestern Assemblies of God University. After playing there, I had some buddies who were already at Tech, and mom actually went to Texas Tech too. And she was just like, hey, you should go check it out and go see what you think of it. And I visited and I fell in love with it and ended up going to school there for a while and joined a fraternity, made a bunch of new friends. And flash forward to senior year, there was a fraternity party that we have every year. It's a Hawaiian themed party. There was an above ground pool, and as I was climbing on the top step of the pool, I slipped and fell head first and ended up breaking my neck, which I know to a lot of people it sounds terrible, which it is. I remember getting to the party that day, and I was probably there for maybe about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Party just started. Obviously, I'm 21-year-old college kid who's already probably had a couple drinks in me, and I remember climbing up on the top step, getting into the pool, and just falling head first. And I remember having a drink in my hand, and I remember it happening so fast. I remember hitting the water, and I didn't understand what was going on. I felt right when it happened. It was a paralysis now that I know, but at the time it just felt like ice kind of freezing over my body, and it was really hard to move. And yeah, I was face down in the water for, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. And a lot of my buddies thought I was joking, playing around, and it turns out I wasn't. And thank God, I had 2 people pull me out of the pool. It's so funny. I remember feeling so nervous. Like, the biggest thing I was so worried about was, like, I was laying there in the hospital bed and I wasn't thinking about my neck or what was happening. I was like thinking, oh my God, my mom figures out about this, she is gonna be so pissed at me. And I was up like all night the first night. There was no sleeping at all. It was just filled with a bunch of like drugs just to ease the pain and stuff. And so the following morning, the surgeon, the doctors, and I guess the surgeon who was going to do my procedure came in, and they were like, we are going to do your surgery. So they cut the front of my neck right here, and then they cut the back of my neck open. They did I don't know which procedure they did first, but I know that they did one procedure. It's either the front of the neck or the back of my neck, and then flipped me over, or I guess flipped me back on my back, and did the other procedure. And I honestly don't know how long the procedure was, but I remember waking up out of the procedure, and it was like one of the worst pains that I've ever felt, and that was even on drugs. It was just excruciatingly painful. My neck was sore. I couldn't move anything. Before I had surgery, I think I was able to wiggle a couple toes. So I had a little more function than I did after the procedure. Every time I'd fall asleep, for some reason, I would just stop breathing. Just the feeling of just being so fatigued and so tired that my body just physically was struggling just to breathe. Realized like I'd fall asleep and the machines would just be beeping. Man, for probably the first 2 to 3 months of having this injury, that neck collar was probably like my best friend. I slept with it. I showered with it. I did everything because my neck was just so weak and so sore. It was like the thing that was just keeping me upright. We're just lucky to have family friends who know people who can do these breakthrough treatments and stuff. So, and like I said, family friends gave us information for David Bell, and then meeting you. I know my stepdad, Clark, he contacted, I think, David, and that's how he got in touch with all y'all. When I first had my injury, I couldn't move anything. Mom literally had to scratch my face whenever I first had my injury in the hospital. Finding out about y'all and these treatments, it isn't instant. I think people have to realize a lot of things in life really aren't instant. I think in today's society, everybody wants everything now. I think that's just how we are as humans. We always want everything instant. When I first started doing these treatments, I think the first thing I noticed was slight change in body temperature. Like when you have an injury like this, you tend to either be like super, super hot or super, super cold. Like you just have these crazy temperature fluctuations. And I remember when I first did my first stem cell treatment, I noticed my hot and cold sensations weren't as bad as they were before. And just over time, doing these treatments, these new treatments actually with y'all, I'm 4 treatments out of 12. Till 4, I've gained so much more sensation. I'm able to move my arms. I'm able to sit up on my own. I've gained feeling on my back, on my bottom, on my arms, my fingers, my legs. Recently, my toes now and the bottom of my feet. For someone who has like a cervical injury, to have feeling on your feet and on your legs, it's not exact feeling, but it's feeling. There's a connection. It was just so shocking. I couldn't believe that someone with an injury like mine could actually gain feeling like that. And especially 2 to 2.5 years out. I was in the hospital. I was told after a year, what you have is what you have. I'm still gaining so much. For example, okay, another awesome thing. Probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was able to stand. So I had my hands strapped in and I had someone help me prop my hips up. And I was able to stand for 15 seconds without anybody helping me with my hips or anything. Just standing there, using my hips and balancing. And I was like, gosh, I'm standing. Okay, so move forward another 4 weeks later. 4 weeks later, I go and I stand and I'm thinking, I was telling Fitz, my trainer, I go, Fitz, are you helping me? Are you touching me? He said, no. I was able to stand for 12 minutes straight without any help. The same exact standing that I did for 15 seconds. Move forward a couple more weeks later, and I'm standing for 12 minutes. That is huge. It's sticking too. Like a lot of these treatments, a lot of these workouts that I'm doing are sticking too. So it's not like I'm just getting it one time and then I forget. I'm remembering, my body's remembering how to do it. And I'm remembering where I am in space in terms of standing. I would 100% recommend this medicine and this modern procedures. It's incredible. Puts it in terms of like mom talking about selling everything and living under a bridge. I know it sounds very extreme, but it's like you have one life. As a human being, we all just want to live the best that we can possibly live. And if you think about it, sure, I won't sugarcoat it. These procedures are pricey, but is there really a price to put on living your life? Is there really a price to put on living free as a physical human being? This isn't like me buying a fancy car or buying a fancy watch or buying a fancy house. This is real life stuff in terms of you being a physically free human being. And what's exciting is that now that there's more medicine coming out, like what y'all are doing, it is proven that there is a possibility. I just want this to help everybody. I want people to see that the walking and everything, it doesn't just come for free. It doesn't just come easily. It's a lot of hard work. I'm willing to put in any of that work. just to be physically able body again.